let's see if we come on the screen here. So here we are again. We're two or more gathered. We're in the traveling Robert Hack studio, still on Route 66.
Yeah.
We're heading for some, looking for some wolves. Got our brother Joab back here in the armor of God, and Dave, who's getting ready for his
Knee surgery.
Oh, which one are you starting with?
Yeah, left one.
Left one?
Yeah, then the right one, July 2nd of this year.
So back to back, pretty much.
Yeah,
back to back.
pretty much, yeah.
Oh, that's a long delay.
Oh, boy.
Awesome. Yeah, so let me make sure volume's down. Nope, volume's down. I heard us talking, so we're actually live. Good morning, everybody. How's everybody doing out there? We had some participation last week. That was nice. A brother from church chimed in.
Yeah.
Steve always chimes in because he's just downstairs. But
Yeah.
I got some work to do. I'm going to have to build us a new studio. They're looking like more and more that they're going to be renting this place to a new renter. So we got to get out of the way and let progress go, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's about it. We'll find something.
Trump wants jobs, bringing jobs.
Yeah, that's right.
Mr. Trump, I'll start a business in America. Tell me what we need.
Yeah.
Give me a little subsidize
Yeah,
me.
something like that.
Get me going. I'll get some people working. I'll start a business, and we'll make it in America.
Yeah, that's right.
Right?
Yeah, that's it.
And Doge can come and audit us.
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay.
So Dave's always on the internet looking for new items and whatnot to go over in our topics, and he came across the dire wolf. I heard about it too. Some people haven't heard about it.
Yeah,
Genetically,
something like that.
with
They don't
AI.
know. Yeah, they don't, and I don't know how they do that with AI. What does AI do?
I don't know what AI has to do with the process.
Yeah.
But we're gonna watch the video. Hopefully, they'll explain the process of it and not just say, "Hey, we made a wolf."
Exactly. This guy is claiming it's more like a replica than an actual dire wolf.
Yeah, he's saying it's not a dire wolf by evidence. It's just a wolf, and it's not the actual one that's been extinct. But we know science. Science is just way off base. I mean, they said wolves jumped into the ocean and came back and turned into dolphins. They say
they're just grasping at straws. They're coming up with every excuse possible.
Anything to deny and get rid of God. It just
once to die, then the judgment. I tell these leftists, deal with it. You can come up with this false evolution, which is just crapola. It's claptrap completely. You know what I mean? It's unproven.
It's not even common sense. I mean, fossilization happens rapidly. Boom, something gets buried like in a cast.
Remember in Washington Street, those trees, that explosion?
Yeah.
They're upset. They were petrified.
Petrified, yeah,
Instantly.
It happens rapidly. Decay happens over time. Death and decay happens over time.
Exactly.
Disintegration.
Yeah.
Like leaves, they fall, they decompose, they go into the earth.
Yeah.
They don't sit on top of the ground, and all of a sudden, ooh, there's a fossil.
Yeah. So that's right.
It's just not even. I mean, these brilliant brains, and they can't grasp simple concepts.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Well, what it is, Martin, in their heart of hearts, in their inner soul, they don't. Pride plus they don't like the idea of answering up to God. They hate the idea of God. They hate the whole idea of the Heavenly Father, that they actually have to live a life correctly according to 10 beautiful commandments.
Yeah, exactly.
They hate that.
Yeah.
So they're grasping at straws with this evolutionary garbage. You know what I mean?
I like Adrian Rogers' analogy about a crow. A crow goes out to look for a dead carcass to eat.
Yeah, right.
What's he going to find? Well, he's going to find a dead carcass because that's the only thing he's going out to look for.
Exactly. Yeah.
So when you're just that narrow-minded and focused on one thing, that's exactly what you're going to find.
Exactly. And I always say this: punch a zero into your iPhone 1 billion times, you're going to come up with a zero. Do it 1 trillion times, you're going to come up with a zero. So where did evolution get its start? Oh, Big Bang. Well, where did the Big Bang from? See, there has to be a beginning somewhere. Yeah. They can't wrap their mind around the fact that God never had a beginning. And I believe firmly, brother, even in our glorified bodies, when we're with Him in heaven, praise God, we still will never be able to comprehend God. Never. It just isn't going to happen. They try to comprehend God. Where did God come from? On and on and on. All these stupid, childish questions, which are meaningless. The very fact that they're going to have to stand before him one day, they hate that. But going to have to deal with it because we all have an appointment with him.
Creation is hard to grasp because in the beginning the Spirit hovered over.
Yeah.
And it was formless and void.
Yeah.
There was no form, no void.
Nothing.
Nothing.
Isn't that beautiful?
Yeah, it is beautiful.
And then the word, which is Jesus, just I see my mind just stretched forth his hand and said, just exist. Bang.
Expand.
There it is. There's your big bang.
Expansions out of the water. Boom.
Yeah.
There's land.
Yeah.
And then after that, he said, "Let there be light."
Yeah.
Boom.
And then think about this.
Just like birth, right?
Yeah.
Just like being in the womb, in the water. And
exactly. And even the universe as we know it, the trillions and trillions of galaxies and stars, he knows everyone by name. And yet, at the same time, think about this, how awesome and how powerful our Lord is. All of that would be a drop in the palm of his hand.
Yeah.
A drop. There's just no way.
And he's going to use all of them to destroy the earth because he's destroying it all by fire. Heavens and earth. There's going to be a new heaven and a new earth. So it's all getting destroyed by fire.
It
so
is.
all these little fire bombs, our earth is solid magma. It's a big fire bomb. So it's going to be boom, 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 fireworks.
And I got
Independence Day.
I got something cute here by Randy Elkhorn. I'll go through this real quick. So my children are hoping extinct animals will be in heaven, maybe even dinosaurs. He's saying there is, and I believe him. I believe when God recreates and destroys the old and brings in a new, we're going to have those extinct animals. We're going to have dinosaurs.
Well, Revelation talks about animals. So
yeah.
There will
the Lord loves
there
animals.
will be some type of animals.
Oh, yeah.
They don't have souls like we have.
No.
They might be new creations.
Right.
But there'll be something.
But that's all for his glory.
Right.
All for his glory.
Just
so
like
I really
put
believe.
Him here for a reason.
Yeah. That's right.
Yeah.
How's your dog doing?
Is our dog gonna be in heaven? Probably not, because he doesn't have a soul.
Yeah.
But he's doing good.
We like to think
he's still unsociable.
Yeah.
But he's great with people. You could put him with a baby, he would protect that baby to no end.
Aww.
But other dogs, he's just like, get away, my space.
Yeah.
Just tough to handle.
Well, what's this?
Dave's gonna come and spend some time with him after his surgery.
Yeah.
We're gonna do some lives.
Yeah.
We'll feed Dave some baby food as he's rehabbing. I'll push him hard. We got some gardening to do, some wheelbarrows. I'll get his knee working in there. So. Hey, good morning, Steve Miller, Mr. Robert Hack. Go see Robert Hack. They're looking for your gold and silver. Come and bring it in.
Who is this guy now?
I don't know. You told me to look up some dire wolf videos,
Yeah.
and this is just one that I found.
So we're gonna do a reaction.
It caught my attention just
Yeah.
because he says he believes that they're mistaken. It's not a dire wolf. It's just a regular wolf or a new species or something they're created. So
Well, let's see what he has to say.
I just listened to the beginning just to see if it was palatable.
Get our headphones here?
Palatable, yeah. So throw your headphones on. Chat to the people while I bring it up for me. Go ahead, Dave. Chat.
Yo, okay. I gotta keep talking.
Yeah,
This guy here, he looks like your atypical leftist.
Mr. Science, he's got the NASA patch.
I'm surprised he doesn't have some diversity colors back there. He obviously hugs trees and is an environment, which is nothing wrong. We are to be stewards of the earth.
Stewards of the earth, for sure. We're supposed to take care of it. It disgusts me. I just went down by the lake and there's a big pile of cans down there. Obviously, some kids were down there drinking, and I'm like, really?
Yeah.
Clean up after yourselves,
really.
people.
Honestly.
I got an answer for all you he, she, they, their, them, whatever.
People.
For everything you identify as, you should have to pay taxes for. So if you're he, she, they, them, you got to pay 4 times the taxes that we pay because you identify as Ford, whatever you.
Isn't that ridiculous?
Wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah.
They would change back to one person real quick, wouldn't they? All right, we're gonna fire this up and take a listen, and we'll pause here and there. I'm sure there's commercials. We'll pause here and there when we think we got. Just tell me when you want to stop.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Back, or are they? There's a biotechnology company called Colossal that is attempting to de-extinct various animals, and they have just claimed that they have de-extincted their first animal, not just their first animal, the first animal to ever be de-extincted. And that claim does not, in my opinion, hold up to scrutiny. However, there are a number of truly remarkable things that are part of this announcement that allow me to still be excited about it, despite the fact that I think they're saying some stuff that they shouldn't say. So this video is the good, the bad, and the straight up wrong of this announcement.
First thing I want to say is I guarantee he's in his parents' basement.
Probably, yeah.
And the realization that we are all going to come to in the end here is that what was done is in some ways more remarkable, but also almost certainly more scary than de-extinction. Because if you could say that a species was created here, it is a species that has never existed before. This is not bringing a species back. This is the wholesale creation of a new species by humans, of large mammal. And that is indeed new. But there's so much here that I feel like
So he seems to feel like they've created a new species of wolf.
Yeah.
And that's even more scary, isn't it?
Somewhat, yeah. They already brought up the issue of war concerning these animals. So naturally, the CIA would possibly be interested in this type of technology for whatever the reason. I don't know how how that applies to.
They're gonna start making Supermen and X-Men and all that kind of stuff.
Geez, it seems like we got the Marvel universe is already here for crying out loud.
That's probably what their goal is. They're sort of enamored by all this sci-fi stuff.
Way to get through it all is to just watch the video that announced this, and I'm going to react to little pieces of it.
Okay, so we got a reaction, double reaction. So, all right, we got a commercial. Go ahead and chat here. I got to play through this.
Yeah, just incredible. Now we have AI bots that know kung fu, that can fight. It's just unbelievable. Our technology is just getting way ahead of us.
Yeah, right.
Way ahead of us.
We're back.
I just don't see how much further it could.
Well, like
it could get worse. You know, I mean, the mark of the beast. I mean, basically, it's here, and we had to reset with COVID. I had this epiphany.
Oh yeah.
We had to reset.
Yeah.
They're talking about the Great Reset. Yeah. We had it. How do we know we had it?
Kind of losing grip of that though.
Yeah. Well, but look at the prices. Everything went through the roof.
Yeah.
Housing, secondhand cars.
I think we could get it back though. I think Trump's trying his hardest to get it back.
Well, I don't think it's going to happen, but God bless his sweet soul.
Yeah, they asked some questions last night about, do you think they'll ever get any new information about the assassination on him, the assassinators, and everybody's like, no. Because the deep state's just so deep that they're never ever going to let that information out. So, all right, we're back at it. Let's see what this, he's doing a reaction to the video, we're reacting to his video. So this is a double reaction.
We are actually in a biodiversity crisis.
So I don't know that everybody does like to talk about the climate crisis, but I do think that it is right to say that we are.
Yeah, we like to talk about it, but we're on the other side of it. God's in control of the climate.
Exactly.
He's never going to let it out of his grasp.
Exactly.
Steer it exactly everywhere which way he wants it to.
That's right.
You're a flea on a
mule's behind.
And he'll flick you off when he's ready.
Are in these twin crises of biodiversity crisis and the climate crisis that, of course, intersect with each other. The climate crisis has huge impacts on biodiversity, but I think a lot of people might think that it's the biggest factor in it, and it's not. The biggest factor in the biodiversity crisis, human use of habitat, basically. So, like, encroachment on a habitat.
Dude, there's so much habitat out there, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, I know.
We're not even close to inhabiting how much of the earth. They keep saying we can fit in the state of Texas.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're just, I don't know, they can't see. I mean, you got to get out of your basement to see the world. Maybe that's why you can't understand.
Well, here, it's all a reason to extract money.
Oh, yeah.
Think about it.
I know it is. But I mean, what is
the World Health Organization and all this whole climate thing is set up to extract money.
Yeah, for sure.
Out of the populace.
Yeah,
that's what that's really about.
Right.
So they hide behind the shadow of climate change, which doesn't exist.
There's no evidence.
No,
there's none.
Not at all. The polar bears are
weather goes through cycles. The world goes through cycles.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
It was going on way before we had carbon emissions from vehicles and planes and stuff.
I know.
And
I know.
At poaching, that kind of stuff. Is this the right way to take on the biodiversity crisis? Is the problem that no one is de-extincting animals? No. Like, I don't think that this guy would say that the problem is no one is de-extincting animals. The problem is that humans continue to encroach on more and more habitat every year. We're doing it slower than we used to, especially per capita, but we're still doing it.
Some scientists have estimated that by 2050, half of all species that are alive today will be extinct.
So,
why do they always look like that?
I don't. Yeah.
They always,
I don't. They have
I'm smarter than you.
That nerd look.
So I'm right. Yeah.
2050 is 25 years away. I don't know that any scientists have made this claim. It would be really weird to me if they had, but I'm going to Google it. So here it is. Biologists think 50% of species will be facing extinction by the end of the century. Currently, 1 in 10 are facing extinction. So that's not extinct. That's in danger of becoming extinct. And I can believe that. And I could see.
So he's not all the way on the nerd side. At least he's questioning what they say a little bit. So I'll give him credit for that. But he's still lost in the woods. You're lost. Well, you're not in the woods. You're in the basement. You need to get out in the woods.
How that stat could get translated in conversations to half of species alive today will be extinct by 2050. And please do not.
I will agree with numbers of animals are definitely down. I've seen turkey numbers go down. I've seen deer numbers go down in the past, but also it's a secular thing.
Yeah.
With grouse.
Right.
There's periods of low, there's periods of up. Depending on weather, if there's a harsh weather, they can have a huge kill.
Yeah.
And then they come back a couple years later, which is definitely going on now.
Uh-huh.
There was definitely a long period where I was not seeing a lot of deer. Now I'm seeing deer everywhere.
Right.
And there was a period where there was turkeys in every field you went, and now it's like, where are they?
Yeah.
I don't see them anymore.
Yeah.
I see them, but not like I should see them. And I definitely know that there is a time when God is going to, the animals are going to turn on us, right? It's written in there where the animals are they're going to become very scarce and they're going to turn on man. I can't remember the verse, but I should find it.
I think I've read that in there. Yeah.
Take this as me saying that this isn't a problem and we don't need to face it. Obviously, we need to face it. It's just a fact that I wanted to check because it seemed off to me, and indeed it is off, but whatever. Is this the world's first de-extinction? No. I don't see any reason why these animals would not be considered gray wolves. They are genetically modified gray wolves. If you would consider them a separate species, then you would have to consider them a synthetic species, and you would not consider them to be a species or even a relative, really, of dire wolves. But whatever.
People think it's a scary word, de-extinction. They immediately put us with Jurassic Park, and it's not.
In the circles I travel in, de-extinction isn't scary because.
No, it is. It is. What did he say in there? You never asked the question of can we do it, or you asked the question can we do it. You never asked the question. No, you asked the question should we do it. You never asked the question can I'm getting it backwards. Can we do it? Should we do it? No, you shouldn't.
Because of Jurassic Park, it's scary because we're trying to figure out how to do ecosystems, and the ecosystems are very flexible and mobile, and when something comes out of an ecosystem, that can cause problems, and trying to put it back in once it's been gone for a long time can also cause problems. I'm not actually personally opposed to the idea of de-extinction. I know lots of people who are, but I think that that's it's an active conversation that we're not going to have right now, but it's not because people think that Newman from Seinfeld's going to get eaten by a dinosaur.
As we lose species within an ecosystem, if you think of a Jenga puzzle, you're sort of pulling blocks out of there. Those blocks that are creating the instability in the ecosystem is literally the function that animal plays. If we can find ways to restore animals that provide that specific function, we can create more stability within an ecosystem.
Okay, well, wild game management has been doing this for years and years and years. They bring a species into a foreign area where it doesn't belong and it takes over. What is Australia, rabbits or something?
Yeah.
And it's constantly been done. They brought carp over here from Europe, and they've invaded. The Asian carp have come over and they've invaded.
Right.
And it's God knows how to balance things. You need to just stay out of the way.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Like you said earlier, we're here to manage and steward the land. Take what you need.
Mm-hmm.
Use it. God wants you to take it, use it, be good stewards, and he'll take care of the rest. You guys keep micromanaging things into, like, our game wardens here in Wisconsin have destroyed our natural resources because of poor management. Because they feel like, oh, we can fix it, do this.
Yeah.
I can fix you, Dave. I can fix you.
So this is the argument that Colossal makes, that they have de-extincted a dire wolf. This is a cogent argument that I just don't think is a good argument to make using the word de-extinction. I think using the word de-extinction is really about marketing in this case. And also it's not about dire wolves, because we're not going to put dire wolves back in an ecosystem that would benefit from them, because that ecosystem died out tens of thousands of years ago. So like very few of the animals that dire wolves would prey on still exist, for example. But the argument that they're making that this is de-extinction is that we have these Jenga blocks and we're pulling blocks out. And if you can slide another block in there, then the ecosystem won't collapse, as long as it fills that same niche, as long as it fits into that Jenga block spot. And it's not just like every block is the same size. There's lots of all different sizes of Jenga blocks that are all moving around and all evolving to exist with each other. This is an okay metaphor, actually. Imagine a Jenga tower that's made out of millions of blocks that are constantly moving and responding to each other. And if you take out a big one, there will not be time for the blocks to react to each other, and the ecosystem may collapse. And so you want to slot one in real quick. And in that case, what you could do is that you wouldn't have to grab the existing animal that went extinct. You could create an animal that...
Well, dinosaurs have been extinct for quite a while, and our ecosystem is just fine.
Yeah, approximately maybe 8,000 years. Yeah. Not 8 billion, not 8 million.
No, back in the flood, so that was more like 4 or 5,000 years ago.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
So, I mean, they like to. I think we talked about it in an earlier video. It's just everybody just wants to plant their flag and say, "This is how it is. This is my opinion. I'm smarter than you, and I'm planting my flag here, and I'm the first one here." God's the first one here.
That serves that same niche, that is close enough to that blob that you can plop it in there and then the ecosystem will recover. And that's why they're making the case that these wolves are a de-extinction, because theoretically they might be direwolf shaped enough that they would slot into the direwolf shaped hole left behind by the actual direwolves that went extinct. Now I am going to explain why these aren't direwolves. I can't just say that, I know that. It's just that we haven't reached that point in the video yet. Now, I wouldn't say that slotting in a different species into a niche is de-extinction. I do understand how it could be a functional good in ecosystem ecology. But it also sounds very hard. And also, all the other Jenga blocks around it are going to react differently to that block that you just slotted in than they would to the original species. And you will not, in that case, have made extinction a thing of the past. That extinction will still have happened. I think...
All right, he's just building our case for quit playing God, right? He's even arguing the points that his counterparts are arguing for. I mean, he's making the devil's advocate against their argument, but still, there's a reason why God is God.
I think that 50, 100 years from now, there's going to be a lot more habitat available on this earth for wilderness. And I think that these conversations probably will have had value at that point, because there will be ecosystem engineering going on. And part of that is going to be genetic modification and species engineering and synthetic species. And we're having those conversations now because we're going to have to figure it out then, and we're going to be fighting about it the whole time, I promise you. So in this section of the video, we're going to talk about wolves in Yellowstone National Park. And I think that this is weird because it makes you think that the genetically modified wolves that they have created are going to be part of a project like this, but they aren't going to be, and they should not be. They should not be released into the wild, because the niche that they would have filled in the former Pleistocene Americas does not exist anymore. You would not want dire wolves walking around in the wild because there's no food for them. But the utility here, there is utility here. One is potential economic utility of having a little theme park. But number two is proof of concept for technologies, and we're going to get to those technologies.
Theme park, they said they don't want to be Jurassic Park. Doesn't that sound like Jurassic Park?
It sure does.
It was a dinosaur theme
park. It sure does, yeah.
Why can't the dire wolf have something to eat? It's a wolf. It's a dog family. It's going to eat anything, and it'll eat its own feces, right?
Just about, yeah.
I mean, I walked my dog this morning. me or you, if we walked up to a pile of poo, we're not going to put our nose in it. If we smell it, first thing we do is turn our head and gag, right? But no, my dog goes, ooh, poo, let's get closer. Poo, poo, closer, closer. You know? Oh, they'll make it all right.
But this has nothing to do with that, because we're talking about wolves, but these wolves are not going to be reintroduced to the wild, and there is no niche for them. Because all the food that they ate is extinct. It has been for thousands of years.
We thought if we could use it as an opportunity where we can also develop technologies that can help wolves, we thought it was the right first project, given how important wolves are to ecosystems.
Now, you can make the case that it's important to do this with wolves because wolves are important to ecosystems, and there are other wolves that are weirdly not mentioned in this video that can potentially benefit from some of the research.
Why are they trying to bring back extinct animals? Okay, just let's see, where is it? Why bring back the dead? Exploring the science and ethics of de-extinction, the promise of ecological restoration, conversation tool and adaptation to modern challenges, scientific and technological advancements, ethical considerations, a moral imperative, question mark, de-extinction projects, the leading candidates, the future of de-extinction, frequently asked questions about de-extinction. What is it? How is it achieved? And which extinct animals are being considered for de-extinction? Can dinosaurs be brought to life?
Oh, they're definitely.
What are potential benefits of the extinction?
Right.
What are the ethical concerns surrounding?
Yeah.
On and on and on it goes. Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
Quite a bit here. So.
Oh, they're definitely, I'm sure for years they've been, since before the Jurassic movie, I'm sure, you know, they were talking about it and trying to figure out ways. I mean, when was Dolly the sheep? That was like in the early 80s.
Yeah.
Remember that? When
Yeah.
they cloned the lamb?
Yeah.
The sheep? So.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah,
And
definitely.
she died. Something was, yeah. But I'm sure they've done, didn't they? I thought they tried a human. Well, they probably have. We, you know, probably just don't
Being done here, and are. Like, it's weird that this isn't mentioned in this video, but Colossal has also cloned red wolf coyote hybrids with the intent of having a species to fill that niche in America, in the United States, in places where there were once red wolves and there no longer are. We've done stuff like that. Like, we've done it with Przewalski's horse, where we, you know, had a Przewalski's horse you basically have the embryo of a Przewalski's horse implanted into a domestic horse. And now we have more Przewalski's horses in the world, and that's good, because that's a natural species of horse that should be in their ecosystem. There's niches for them to exist inside of, because they are very recently have left those niches. And predators and wolves are very important to ecosystems, and doing this work with red wolves could potentially have benefit. I just don't know why it's not mentioned in this video. You haven't heard about it. You haven't heard that Colossal cloned red wolves as part of this. I don't know why not.
One of the challenges when we started working on the direwolf was that we knew of only 2 direwolf specimens in the world that contained some usable DNA.
All right. Now, this is like a legitimately cool, I'm excited about it part of the thing where they found enough direwolf DNA. And it wasn't just them. Like, I think that there are researchers who work with Colossal and
That's what I want to know. Where did they find the DNA?
Yeah.
Yeah, it couldn't be in well, would there be any left in if they found a bone? But a bone over that time, I don't even know how long have they been extinct for?
Well, 10,000 years according to
Well,
them.
that's what they say, but yeah, their dating is way off. We already know that's off, so.
are on this research, but then there are people who are just at Colossal or just on this research or whatever. We've had tons of direwolf skulls from the La Brea tar pits, but because it's a tar pit, all the DNA is super degraded. You're not going to get anything off of those. But we have found a couple of specimens of direwolves. One is, I think, 12,000 years ago. One's like almost 80,000 years old. And we've gotten, I think from the older one, we actually got more DNA. That's a long time ago to get usable DNA to get not just all of the direwolf genome, but like multiple copies.
That makes sense. They got better DNA from the older one.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't think so. Your carbon dating testing doesn't work, and all your other testing is inaccurate.
Says here, meet the direwolf DNA from extinct animal used to birth. Their skeletal remains have been found in North and South America.
Yeah, that's what he just said.
Colossal? What is it? Colossal scientists?
Colossal's the company.
Okay. extracted ancient DNA from direwolf fossils. Okay.
Maybe Doge needs to go into Colossal, make sure they're not getting government money. If they're
really?
doing private money, fine. But yeah, I'm not paying for your craziness.
Piece of it so that you can fill in a lot of the gaps. You're not going to get one solid, unbroken genome, but you could get multiples so that you could do a bunch of computer analysis and have basically a full direwolf genome. And that's amazing. That's really cool. And there's other cool stuff that they're about to do with that genome that we're going to talk about it too. This video, by the way, is brought to you by our newsletter. It's called We're Here. It goes out every week. It tells you some of the cool stuff that happened on the internet that you could find out. Here's some interesting things that people were up to this week, whether that's like the creation of a fun new game or a big change in the way humans are on Earth. Wide-ranging, different perspectives. We do some book reviews there. We have some games we play. It's fun. You could join We Are Here. There's a link in the description. It's free, and you can unsubscribe anytime, and you get it once a week on Friday. And that's how We're Here works. I love it. It is a way for me here.
There was a massive study that did many samples across multiple institutions.
It was a collaborative effort. I'm glad that they said that. It would have been nice for them to actually name the institutions, because I'm sure that this science was funded by the federal government.
Right. There you go.
You know, most traders get into this game thinking the goal is to win as much as possible.
Yeah, that's usually the case. How many tax dollars and grants get put into stuff that we don't really want our money spent on, right?
So what you can do is you can map that to its closest living relative. So at Colossal, we're using the gray wolf.
So this is a very interesting moment in the video to me. This woman has said, we're going to map that to its closest living relative. And then the next line is, so Colossal are using the gray wolf. And that indicates to me, like, you would listen to that and think that the gray wolf is the closest living relative of the dire wolf. It would seem, looking especially just at the skeletons, that dire wolves and gray wolves are closely related to each other. But from our current understanding, a paper published in 2021 that looked at the DNA of direwolves, that isn't just like a little bit wrong, it's like wildly wrong. The paper is called Direwolves Were the Last of an Ancient New World Canid Lineage. There are many authors on this paper, including some people who work at Colossal. And the findings from that paper are that direwolves and gray wolves diverged, like their last common ancestor was almost 6 million years ago. The most recent common ancestor between chimps and humans was between 6 and 7 million years ago. So not that far back, but like close. As much as I love a chimpanzee and sometimes it's...
When you can't even understand history, you got no business trying to recreate the future, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
I mean, they're just... we weren't chimpanzees.
No.
Oh my God.
They are a kind.
Yeah, they're a kind.
A kind. Okay.
DNA. What's DNA? You got to have a specific DNA strand to be something. You're gonna have, if your DNA strand says blue eyes, you're gonna have blue eyes.
Right.
It's not gonna evolve into brown eyes or orange or red eyes.
See a chimpanzee skeleton and I'm like, that's just a little person. They're not. They're different. Yeah. Very different species. Now, sometimes for a very long time, many traits can be conserved, but that doesn't actually seem to be what happened here. If this was 5 million years ago that this diverged, then that common ancestor gave rise to jackals, African wild dogs, and wolves. And then what would have happened is that they convergently evolved to have very similar body shapes to gray wolves because they were living in a similar habitat and hunting in similar ways. The people at Colossal are just rejecting this wholesale. They're saying this is not the case. Gray wolves are the closest living relative of dire wolves. And they say that they have evidence, but they have not provided that evidence, which I find annoying. It also, kind of is a big part of your argument here. Like, if dire wolves are just giant jackals, they're probably going to look pretty different from gray wolves. And so the thing you've just created, in order to try and make it look like a dire wolf, doesn't actually look like a dire wolf. It looks like a large gray wolf. And dire wolves would be very different because they diverged and have not shared a common ancestor with gray wolves for 6 million years. But the people at Colossal do have a great direwolf DNA sequence, and so maybe they've done science, and I would love to see them release the science where they talk about how they have proved that there was this old lineage, but then it interbred, which specifically the 2021 paper said there was no gene flow between direwolves and gray wolves, but they are arguing with that, but they are not releasing the data that has led them to argue against that. And I am I think, understandably skeptical of it, because it's a better story if the gray wolf is the nearest relative of the dire wolf. And this is weird to like say all this stuff. That will actually create, I think, probably a lot of discourse that will drive us in an uncertain direction. So, and now this section of the video, they're talking about how to actually get the egg turned into a baby that's going to be born out of a dog. And that's, you know about that. That's how Dolly was made. So we're going to skip over this part.
And with the help of a vet team, we then are able to surgically put this embryo back inside to the surrogate dog.
This isn't discussed in this video, but one thing that I do want to talk about is that, so there were some genes that were that gene in direwolves. From what I understand, they are actually the genes that were in direwolves that were swapped out with the gray wolf gene. But then there were also some genes that they wanted to switch out, but they decided not to because they knew that those genes could be associated with other diseases like blindness or loss of hearing or something. And so they didn't want to mess with those genes. So instead, they made those changes by adding in those traits elsewhere or with other genes that they knew they weren't going to be associated with problems. And I think that's like a responsible, ethical way to handle that. And it all comes back to the fact that they're not trying to create direwolves. They're trying to create something that would be more likely to fit into a direwolf-shaped hole in an ecosystem, which again does not exist in any current ecosystems because direwolves have been extinct for over 10,000 years.
As well as are pursuing on the science side our own exogenous development team so that one day we won't have to use surrogates.
That's wild. That would be the biggest advance that they're trying to work on, is to be able to have a baby mammal be born without a surrogate. So not, especially this is a placental mammal. Like you could kind of see this with marsupials, but with a placental mammal, how do you have a baby be born without a mother? I guess someday we'll get there, but that's wild.
We're a part of the evolutionary stream of the planet. We're kin to every other species out there.
So this is wild. I took a class from this guy at University of Montana. What I can tell you about Dan, from having taken a class from Dan Flores, is this dude loves wolves. He loves wolves in like a biological and scientific way. He also loves wolves in like a spiritual way.
What we do today is, I think, what the hope for the future is for biodiversity, for nature, is to be on sort of the ground floor of creating a tool that will be the solution for our biodiversity crisis.
I'm going to complain about using the phrase "the solution to our biodiversity crisis" because, again, the problem is not that we can't de-extinct animals. The problem is that we continue to encroach on habitats of animals, and also that the climate is changing. There's going to be many solutions to this problem, and I applaud.
Yeah, I think we probably heard about enough of that, right?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, it's just going to keep harping on the same old...
I'm telling you, whipping a dead horse. It's all we're doing, Martin.
We'll let him argue whether the species is accurate or not accurate. That's irrelevant. It's the actions that are most important. Like these guys saying they want to bring something from nothing, and there's just you can't.
They're trying to play God.
That's all it comes down to.
Trying to play God. And can't.
It never works.
No.
I mean, Hollywood. They always say Hollywood comes. I don't know. We got. Oh, okay. That's a pause. Never mind. That's like our sound's not working, but I paused the video, so we're good. Hollywood always usually foretells the future, right? They put out movies and then usually something happens similar down the road. And well, is it because they know the script, or because they just know humanity, or just?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It seems like lately Hollywood is dictating the culture.
Yeah.
That bothers me. Mm-hmm. You know, with all this transgender nonsense. The gay thing, they're not gay. Those people are not happy. They're miserable. Sodomite thing, more aptly put.
Speaking of genes, there's no gay gene.
There is no gay gene. None. Yeah. You choose that lifestyle, one way or the other. Yeah. You know, I don't care what anybody says. There is.
But they're just dipping into areas they shouldn't be dipping into. Yeah. I mean, there should be medical research and trying to heal the body and do what we can to be the best that we can be without, without sacrificing babies with, aborted baby fetuses and that stuff, and adult stem cell research is way better and more effective and stronger than baby.
That it is.
So
That it is. Than killing a child.
Yeah.
Once again, they're just looking for an excuse because
Yeah.
they harvest those body parts.
it's just,
That is barbaric. That you
it's
talk
the
about,
argument. I'm hungry, I can steal.
Yeah.
You know, I'm cold, I can steal your house, and just
Yeah, I know. Yet they call the right Nazis.
Yeah.
Talk about gaslighting, hey?
right.
Talk about gaslighting.
Nazis.
I'm sorry, liberal left. You're the real Nazi. when it
Yeah,
comes to-
I'll be the left,
Yeah.
you be the right. Ask
Yeah.
me a question.
Yeah, yeah.
Ask me a question. You can be the right, I'll be the left.
Oh, you'll be the left?
Yeah, ask me a question.
Why don't we...
You're a Nazi.
Yeah.
Ask me a question.
Yeah.
You're full of hate. Ask me a question.
Yeah.
You're intolerant. See, I'm smart.
There it
I'm
is,
smarter
yeah.
than him. I won.
Oh, man.
That's how they react to everything.
Yeah.
They don't bring any facts or anything. I'll give this. I appreciate. He doesn't know that we're using his video, but we'll give him a thank you for letting us use his
Yeah,
video. He's
definitely.
out there. Our videos are shareable. His
Yeah.
videos are shareable.
So what the heck?
I'll give him credit for we appreciate it, and I'll give him credit for questioning some of the stuff that
Oh,
they're
yeah.
doing and saying, "Wait a
Oh,
minute,
yeah.
that doesn't add
Yeah.
up." Or that doesn't add up, so we'll
So-
put an invitation out there to him. If he ever sees our reaction to his video, contact us. We'd love to have a real debate about
Yeah.
millions of years,
Right?
God's creation versus your
Oh,
evolution.
Definitely.
You seem to be a smart man. We're not doubting your intelligence. We're just doubting your common sense.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I think the question asked now is, whatever they bring back, it doesn't matter. I mean, whatever they bring back, is it just a replica or is it the real deal?
Okay, and what purpose does the dire wolf service that a gray wolf can't? We can just breed them.
Yeah,
Ones that are here if we need
Yeah.
more,
right.
which I don't think we do because they've devastated the deer population in northern Wisconsin.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
there's practically no deer up there. To say we need to inject this into there and inject.
Oh,
that
I heard
into
about
there
that.
to
The wolves
balance.
wiped them out.
Oh yeah, they've just
Yeah.
decimated. The
Yeah.
bear population's even down also. So they're just killing machines.
Yeah, wolves.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're just
Yeah.
even when they don't want to eat, they'll kill.
Really?
They'll take their when they teach their young how to hunt.
Uh-huh.
Even when they're not hungry, they'll kill. It's
Uh-huh.
kind of like the argument of Indians only use what they needed.
Yeah.
That's bull.
Yeah.
They used to run herds of buffalo off cliffs, herds and herds of buffaloes. So,
Yeah, yeah. You know, Wolverine is the same way.
yeah.
A Wolverine will kill for the fun of it.
Yeah.
Literally.
They are
And
just
Wolverines and wolves
nonstop-
are, yeah.
they're just
yeah.
nonstop energy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
totally.
they just
Totally.
go,
They're
go,
unbelievable.
go, go.
Yeah.
They're unbelievable for sure. So that question will always be out in the forefront, and I'm sure they've heard it, and I'm sure
Uh-huh.
they probably in their brains at some point they even say, at what point do we stop, or at what point are we going too far, or at what point are we
It isn't gonna
trying
stop.
to be God?
Yeah, it isn't gonna stop. I don't believe it is.
Yeah, yeah.
It isn't gonna stop.
No, it's not, because
Man is just gonna keep going and going and going.
yeah, your pride, your
Eh,
desire
yeah,
to
Yeah,
be
yeah.
the man, to be the one.
All of that, they want to be God,
Look
and
what
it's
I
gonna
did,
backfire.
look what I
Yeah.
did, look
Tell
what I
me.
did.
I know.
Let me tell you guys something. The devil never denied God. He just wanted his attention away from God.
Yeah.
He knows there's God. He knows
Yeah.
there's Jesus. He didn't say there is no God. He said, did God really say?
Yeah,
Right.
exactly. Yeah, that you should not eat off the tree. Of
So even the devil
Yeah.
knows that God
Yeah.
exists. So
Yeah.
he's a little bit smarter than some of these scientists.
No, we're living in quite an incredible future. I mean, geez, unbelievable.
Yeah.
We're old men. I'm an old man, so I don't think I'm going to see a half of this.
Well,
You know, if I live another 20 years from, I'll be 72 this fall, so it's just scary to think what's going to transgress
Right.
in the next even 20 years. When I get towards the end of my life, I asked the Lord for another 20, close to
Moving
90.
rapidly. It's moving
Yeah.
very, very
Oh.
rapidly. What I love, my aches
Unbelievable.
and pains to go away. I mean, sure,
Yeah.
Dave's having surgery.
Yeah.
I'm constantly looking for supplements or
Mhm.
something to fix my gut or just
Yeah.
anything to make me feel better because chronic pain is debilitating.
Yeah.
I mean, it just
Oh.
radiates in my
Yeah.
body constantly,
Yeah.
and it just like you never get a break.
Wow.
So
Wow.
it's not fun, but.
No.
I'm not gonna say whatever it takes by any means. No, there's boundaries.
Yeah.
God set boundaries, land boundaries.
Yeah. Yes.
Physical boundaries.
Yes.
spiritual
Yes,
boundaries. He's
exactly.
got boundaries everywhere.
Exactly. Yeah.
He released the canopy that protected the earth and it flooded the world.
Yeah.
And then now, next time, he's going to release the restrainer, and then he's going to bring his wrath. And then after that short time, then fire's coming.
Exactly.
Burning everything up.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Well, like and subscribe.
Yep.
Please do. Just punch
I
the
don't know
like
what-
button and
yep.
subscribe, you know.
We don't know what the dire wolves' purpose is for bringing them back, or what their purpose was back then. I mean, they're wolves. They're an eating, killing machine, just like a shark
Yeah,
or whatever.
yeah,
So,
exactly.
I mean, we definitely need crows and coyotes and wolves to clean up our death and decay. They devour all the waste and stuff, but they also, wolves a little bit more, do a lot more killing.
Well, the Lord initiated balance in nature, Martin. He
Right.
did.
Yeah.
He did.
Yep.
Even after the fall, sin entered. Okay, then animals turned carnivorous,
Yep.
and
Yep.
they started preying on each other. But
Put
even
the fear,
even yeah,
put
even
the
in
fear
that,
into the animals.
right. But even in that system, that ecosystem, okay, while sin entered, yet still He instituted balance. Okay, the wolves fed out other populations so they don't overpopulate like deer. I mean, it's funny. I was talking about this the other day with some guys at the gym. The very same thing that you're mentioning. The deer practically wiped out up north. They said the very same thing.
Yeah.
These are hunters. Okay.
Yep.
So
And you get the same thing in a lake. If a lake is overpopulated with fish, the fish will actually stunt, so they'll become smaller.
yeah.
They won't grow
What is it with the
because there's
carp
not
too
food.
that they did? Why did they introduce
I don't
Asian
know why
carp?
they brought Asian
What
carp.
in the name of common sense?
Well, they
Why
go
would you
around.
do something
They
like
go
that?
around and they eat the vegetation off the bottom, so they clean up. They do clean up lakes.
Right.
They do clean up water systems.
Right.
That was the general reason why they brought them in, but they populate like ridiculous, and the Asian carp really do, and they can jump out of the water.
Oh, yeah, to jump over the boats.
Yeah.
I've seen that.
Yep.
They're very aggressive.
One guy actually is making a living off of them. He's like catching them and serving them at restaurants.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's actually using it.
Uh-huh.
But that's always, it's been going on forever.
Yeah.
Bring the cat to get the mouse. Now you got to bring the dog to get the cat. And you gotta bring whatever to get the dog. Right? It's the old cartoon. It's
That's a good
man
way of
trying to
putting
be
it,
in,
yeah.
it's trying to be in control. Because how can you have, man can't be in control. Me and Dave can sit in this room and have two totally different opinions. Well, let's bring
Yeah.
5 more guys in. Well, there's 5 more opinions.
Yeah.
Everybody wants their own. No, I think this should be done. I think that should be done. This should be done. That should be done. That's why he's in charge.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's deal with the day-to-day activities and let him control the rest.
That's right. That's right. Amen. Amen, brother. Yeah. Yeah.
But even as Christians, we struggle with it, right?
Oh,
we want to
sure.
be in control.
Yeah,
It's
that's-
my life.
That's just pride. That's
My
all it
family.
is.
I'm going to protect
Pride,
my family.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's
So,
okay. Yeah.
Right. All right. Well, we got to cut this one off because I got to do some errands. I got to run some family members around today. So, yeah, I was kind of interested in that. It is interesting.
It's going to stop with the dire wolf, though. I guarantee it.
No,
No,
it
no.
definitely won't. It's.
No.
I mean, there's a place for this stuff, but how far? Like
Yeah,
you said, there's
I know.
boundaries. So
I know.
just like everything, balance and
Yeah.
our food balance, everything is. Yeah, it's tough.
Pretty soon, humans.
Yep.
They'll be
Yep.
recreating humans. I'm telling you.
Yep. All right, man. That's gonna wrap it up for where 2 or more gather. The Robert Hack Studio. Oh my
Like
gosh.
and subscribe, please.
We're-
Like and subscribe. We're not looking for money, just subscriptions.
Yeah,
Okay.
subscriptions. I gotta blow.
Wanna
the
grow a
candle-
channel?
Gotta blow the candle out before we burn the place down.
Yeah. Yeah. That's right. That's right.
That's gonna do it for Mr. Navarra and Marty Marr. And next video will be from who knows where, because surgery's a week from yesterday.
Yeah. 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 This next following Wednesday.
Yep. Maybe we'll do something next Thursday, and it'll be Dave.
Recuperate.
Dave's recuperation. So that's gonna do it. Have a good one. And